Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. You just missed a spirited conversation about the differences between the 1954 and 1937 versions of A Star is Born. But we will move, we will trend, but 37 is better. Everybody knows it. We will. That's the end of the conversation.
Let's go to 1925, shall we?
Let's move to 1925. Meredith, Alonso, Ben, Downton Abbey, episode 5. Or I believe they had a title for it, but they stopped, and the title was merely
call the Exorcist.
But man, I think they went too far because I was like, okay, he'd be dead. Like that guy dies. You spit up. Well, first of all, in movies, you spit up that much blood, you die. That's a death sentence.
No,
that's a movie death sentence.
In movies, all of that Chekhov's stomach should be what killed him. All of the ooh.
Yeah, that's right. In movies, that's right.
There's so much indicated.
But that was just. I mean, it was like 5 times.
Well, but I did some research last night for you guys, and surprisingly, when a perforated ulcer occurs, there's an actual medical researcher on Downton Abbey that looked into the whole issue, and they found out that's pretty common.
You could, I have no doubt that technically, I'm just saying. No one with a perforated ulcer spit up blood like that in 1925 and lived. I know it for a fact.
Well, look, as long as they don't send him to Lady Sybil's doctor,
right?
I think that's right.
But here's the thing: maybe they should have waited until we had the whole, county versus York medical thing.
Where I was wrong, of course, was I thought, clear prediction that either Robert dies or is saved by York.
Yeah.
Prompting, the Dowager to realize.
Oh, right.
Okay, all right, fine.
But I guess now we know.
But I guess he's fine. They talk about taking momentum away from a reasonable cliffhanger story. They're like, next week on Downton, there he is in bed,
Yeah, he's fine.
You know what I think we should do? Is we should have more about the pigs.
Well, and now Mary, though, stepping up in a baller soap opera move, I'm in charge now.
Totally, yeah. Al Haig of Downton.
Totally, yeah. Like she's like, we're running the show now. No more stress for Papa.
Yeah, I mean, can we hear from a doctor? First of all, let's make sure he lives.
Yeah.
Right? And then B, let's talk to a doctor because maybe in 4 weeks. He's fine.
Bright as rain.
Well, Mary's been waiting for this moment since season 1. Listen, she's just like, it's my show now.
But also, they're turning him into a delegating CEO. Like, we'll do, which is what he should be anyway.
Right.
I mean, these guys, they make the better decisions anyway.
Although I have to say, speaking of Lady Sybil, I get a little verklempt when they bring her up.
I know.
It's like, I know that, Jessica Finley Brown left so she could go make, Winter's Tale or whatever shitty American movies they stick her in. But, the way they got rid of that character and the way that they summon her now, like I wasn't here last week when y'all talked about, the return of the typist and everything. It's a little like, it matters, and it does affect everybody.
We thought that was a particularly beautiful scene.
Absolutely.
I thought after Robert's bloodletting,
which got Cora right in the face.
That was
totally. That's what I'm saying. When blood splatters on other people in movies, you die. They are violating the movie rule.
Well, and fun little fact, it wasn't actually supposed to hit Cora. That was all. They had put a bunch of fake blood in his mouth and just let him go. And they had practiced this because, they actually shoot in that historic house and everyone actually wears like historic garments. And it wasn't supposed to hit Cora. And there was actual damage done to her vintage dress.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so there was some extra blood splatter.
Well, I was just imagining Mrs. Patmore, well, I guess we're going to burn these linens.
It was very powerful with her. But then the conversation between the Maggie Smith and Elizabeth McGovern afterwards, like, hey, like not again, not right now. Like you guys got to go to the hospital, and then it's your husband and your son, and they were clearly, obviously they love him. It's not, and then Tom, this is writing, not acting. This is inappropriate writing. Then Tom and fucking Neville Chamberlain are like, they're like giggling.
He's like, hey.
Isn't this a father figure to you, Tom? Didn't you just come back? Don't you love Robert? Aren't you? I know, that'd be fine. They'll let me know. I don't want to bother.
Show that position in society, Tom. Let's just pound that home.
Well, and every time they mentioned Neville Chamberlain, I just kept imagining, Lady Violet saying, also tell him he should allow Hitler to annex the Sudetenland.
Sudetenland, yeah. But I liked how they gave, first of all, he looks like Neville Chamberlain.
Yes.
That was good and well costumed and well makeup and with the mustache. And But that moment, you know, when you said, "Oh, aren't you looking for a fight?" You know, and he
I try to avoid one.
I tried to avoid one. That was yeah, it was
Zing.
that was good stuff. I mean, look, I liked it. I liked the last episode so well, and I thought that those little conversations after Robert's episode were oddly inappropriate and peculiar that
Unconcerned.
Yeah.
that it got written in the first place, that on rehearsal at some point or in editing they weren't like, because you didn't need them at all.
No.
Like
Yeah.
we didn't need to know that they were talking about the hospital. They'll settle it later. We know it was always being
Yeah, and
discussed.
even bringing in Mary's realization about Marigold at that point, like I'm glad she decided, like, I'm too tired for this to table
Yeah.
it, but it just, like, I was like, I get we want to push this up as the next issue, but it just
Well, at
it was
least
too
Mary
much.
was back home then
Yeah,
and had been told
true.
that her father was
Yeah.
likely to survive.
Yeah.
At least she had new information that
Yeah.
might make her rest a little
And
easier.
have a conversation
I know.
about something other than
Other
her
than
father's
that, I know it
impending
just
death.
felt
Yes.
that it just felt like I just wish all of it could have been handled a lot better in the last 15 of that episode.
Meanwhile, a very blackmail-y episode between the Dowager getting Neville
Yeah.
Chamberlain to show up, and then the whole Denker Spratt business, which she's clearly just going to hold
Yeah.
over his head until time immemorial.
Yeah, right. But at least she's telling him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. He should get his nephew to kill her.
I was going to say. That I was thinking like at some point, the only way to get rid of a blackmailer is to rub him out.
Yeah, but poor Spratt. I don't know.
Or so I just imagine also you could with Denker. I think Spratt could survive that just
Yeah.
with I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know if he was there. I didn't see anything.
I feel
you know.
Denker's dug enough of her own hole at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of Thomas in Denker.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
A nice moment from Thomas, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why can't Andy read? That was nice.
And also just a realization that moment where he, said he cared.
Yeah.
So, and we're clearly setting up an Andy Daisy thing here,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Definitely. I mean, Andy will do anything to be with. He doesn't care about the farm life or
No.
pigs or reading.
But even
He wants to
Daisy's
nail
own,
Daisy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even Daisy's own protectiveness, though, over her former father-in-law, though, with his.
And are we setting up a Mrs.
Oh, my
Patmore
God.
and whatever his name is,
It
Farmer
looked,
John?
I hope so.
Oh, maybe,
I
because,
hope
We've
so.
set up her. Oh, I've
Yeah.
never been touched by a man. This whole season, and she. What's his name? Mr.
Mr.
Forget.
You'll tell us
Yeah,
in the
you'll
comments,
tell
I'm
us.
sure.
And oh my gosh, Edith and her new beau.
Oh!
I am so happy. I loved that. I loved their kiss. I
Yes.
loved their romance. I love everything about it. I'm so happy.
She's
for
finally
Edith.
met somebody age
Yes.
appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's.
Who digs her. I like that she is becoming the sort of suffragette of this
Yes.
crew.
And in the same, it's a nice turn because now we're obviously, I think the audience's sympathies is much more with her than with Mary.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Mainly because she removed herself from the fight. It's
Yeah.
like when Michael died, she was like, I'm not interested in fighting with my sister anymore. I mean, my sister's a giant pain in the ass, to
Yeah.
be polite. And so she Mary says cutting things, and Edith just
Yeah.
moves right
Yeah.
through. But so we have in this episode the guy saying, I can't offer you much because he's an agent for somebody else. He's a working
For
man,
his,
right?
yeah, for his
Right.
cousin, yeah.
And Mary then telling Tom, just so you know, I won't marry below my station. And Edith's like, I don't care.
Yeah, she's
you got a
like,
job?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
She's like, you
Screw my
offer so
station.
much
Right.
more.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also she is, she has inherited money. She works. She doesn't have to be, she was always going to be stuck in Mary's shadow if the life of Downton was going to be her life.
Yeah.
So she has very wisely, I think, gotten out of there, is making a life for herself in London, and doesn't need any of that stuff.
Yeah, she's really showing that next generation of woman, and it's really great. And again, I say this, and I really would love the Edith spin-off show. I really want that. Like, I'd be
Yeah,
okay
Edith
with
and
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
to the real progressive women. I mean, Mary is working and she's taking
Yeah.
charge, so she
Sure.
plays a role in it. But Edith and Daisy are much more the
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
sort of recognizing the time and seizing their station.
And she even talked about it in that interview with the woman who's coming in for the job. I like, oh yeah, we were born in 1892, but it's a different world now, and that's a little fine, putting too fine a point on it, but it's still,
Yeah.
it felt organic in the
It did.
conversation.
It did.
I would like to see, born in 1892, so I would love to see them at 80
Oh,
in
gosh.
1972. You know,
Yeah.
that would be amusing.
Yeah.
I like so yeah. I mean, and she's hiring this woman to do her magazine, and you know, and that's all. Edith, very easy to root for.
Yeah. Do other butlers have to contend with the police arriving every 10 minutes?
And Carson and Carson.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I'm like, come on,
He
Carson.
is going to get a skillet to the
I
head if he's not
know.
careful.
The flip side is, she didn't cook those steaks.
No, she didn't.
They were raw. And you put lamb in the vegetable thing, whatever. She doesn't know, but it's fine. But no, he is that moment where he said it.
Yeah.
In the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you could give. What was her Hughes?
Mrs.
Mrs.
Hughes,
yeah.
some pointers.
I think, and I don't think they're doing it to show him as being mean. I think it's just showing how dense he kind of is to the whole relationship thing. He grew up in this life of service.
And I think he is a man in 1925.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
He's a man in 1925 who objects to the progress that has been made in 1925.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a man in 1895. That's when he was.
Right.
That's when he's
Exactly.
comfortable, and his language is still from there. So he, you know, much more so than Robert, he represents the lack of progress.
Exactly. And it's hard for me to, I don't like jump on and hate Mr. Carson. I'm just kind of like, come on, you're being a little tactless, but I know you're going to get your comeuppance. So.
Totally.
But no, I mean, I think a lot of times this show has shown us over the course of the thing that the staff, in a lot of ways, is almost, unless they want to leave service and go make their way in the world, a lot of times they're so entrenched in this, and this is what they know, that they're as committed, if not more so, to the way things are than like the Dowager even, you know?
I mean, Carson and Thomas, these people have no interest in progress. Yeah. And even, you know, even the Bateses are largely indifferent to it.
Yeah.
Like, I guess we'll have to find some other job. That'll be hard to do. You know, I mean, you know, they're at least they respect their own independence. But yeah, there are plenty of people who have no interest in this. But Andy, by the way, that pig moment was that was a nice that was a nice moment. Yeah. All right, we forgetting anything? What else?
Mary and her new man.
Oh yeah, it was Mary and
Driving,
and Ozymandias.
Yeah.
But Thomas then taking charge of that relationship. What was a nice thing.
Tom. Yeah.
Tom taking charge of that.
I can, you know, Mary obviously has her hesitations around men in cars. It's fair. It's fair.
Yeah, that's Dave pointed out. She goes, you know, her husband. No one's talking about the fact that her husband died in a car accident.
Yeah,
that
she's
might
allowed to be
a bit of a skittish area for her. You know?
That said, she's fairly unbearable. Fairly unbearable.
Because
I'm starting to wish her harm.
Yeah, she started getting back at the whole snippy Edith comments again. Like, there's no way you have a date. Like,
right?
Come on, Mary.
Yeah, and I mean, and just the denseness about you know, and when Edith said, "I'm going to go check on the children," so, of course you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you check on the freaking children? How about that?
Yeah.
Look, yes, she's a giant pain in the ass, but I think that knowing about Marigold now, she's going to be a little more compassionate. And I think also that at some point, whether or not we see it, I think Edith is going to reach a stage where Mary at least has to internally acknowledge, oh yeah, she's her own woman, she's got her shit going on, even if their relationship is forever externally her sniping at her.
It may. I think it's clearly. I mean, I would imagine just narratively that's where they want to go. They don't want Mary to be a. You know, she is the, you know, youngest, sort of biggest leading lady on the show. I don't think they want her to be shrill throughout, but they're getting, you know, we're getting close. We're getting close to the finish. But yes, I would imagine that she's going to recognize, oh, look at Edith. She had this kid. She's found her own way. She's left. She's got a place in London. She's running a paper. There may even be a moment of Mary's jealousy. Like,
absolutely.
I couldn't escape this place, and look what Edith has done. She's in love. She's not worried about things.
Yeah.
She's got a nice life.
She doesn't have to smell pig shits.
Yeah, at what point does Mary realize that maybe Downton isn't what she truly wanted?
Right, yeah, well, maybe she'll go, too.
Race cars.
Yeah.
Go race cars. Checking on everyone.
Checklist. Are we leaving anybody out? Or are we all
That's right, this is dead.
Yeah.
I know, we really need a season 6 photo up here.
Yeah, or...
Oh, actually, I think that over in the corner, that's
or a season that, like, has Sybil.
Oh,
like, you know,
no, I couldn't take it.
You couldn't take it too hard?
No, couldn't.
Too soon?
Yeah, too soon.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we'll be back. I guess there are eight episodes we said?
8 episodes and a Christmas special.
And then a long Christmas special. But I guess, you know, they've taken the suspense away about Robert, which is a puzzling decision.
But you know, Dave was telling me that Maggie Smith gave some interview saying, "Oh well, nobody dies," you know. Yeah. And I had not watched that clip of the Downton people on Colbert doing a scene in American accents. But one of those people is Alan Leach. So if I had seen that, I would have known that Tom comes back this season. So I'm glad I hadn't seen that. So they're clearly giving away the store as far as like the
Also,
twists
in this
go.
day and age, it's already aired. So
Well,
you
yeah,
can go back
exactly.
somewhere
You
else.
have to be very like, yeah, to not know. So.
All right. But maybe there'll be some sort of fun murder-suicide at the end that we can look forward to over Christmas. Who doesn't want that for the Christmas holidays? Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week.